Hey friends, it's Louisa, and I just wanted to share a couple words with you just about like what God's been talking to me and teaching me about and reminding me about in the last few weeks during COVID. And the first thing is just that He is aware. I have been reading through the Bible in a year plan through the calendars that the church passed out at the beginning of the year. And when I hit Exodus, I had just read, the Israelites leaving Egypt. God delivered them through Moses from that. And all of a sudden, God is giving Moses these elaborate plans for building the tabernacle, the place of which God would dwell for his people. And so God's like, hey, I need you to use this kind of fabric. I want you to use, this much fabric. I want it to be this high, this long, this wide, this deep. Like, I want you to use this color. This is how specific he was. I want you to use this color of thread to make the patterns on the tapestry, and I want you to use this amount of gold on this piece and that piece, God like takes Moses through all these elaborate instructions, and I'm sitting there listening to the YouVersion app because it's awesome, and sometimes the Old Testament is easier to listen to than to read. And so I'm sitting there listening to this though, and I'm thinking to myself, Lord, how in the world are you expecting them to do this? Like, this is a huge order. How they just left slavery. Like, how are they going to ever build this gigantic tabernacle with all these expensive products and supplies when they were slaves for 400 years? And now you're delivering them and they're in the middle of the wilderness. Like, where are they going to get all this stuff? I kid you not. I had that thought in my head, and the very next chapter began, and it says, the Lord provided a craftsman. Are you kidding? That's so cool. Like, God gave his spirit to a dude, I don't remember his name right now, but to a dude who was an expert craftsman, who knew exactly how to create everything that God was asking them to do. And because God had asked them before they left Egypt to go to all their Egyptian neighbors and ask for all these supplies and take it with them into the wilderness, because God had asked them to do that, they had everything that they needed to build this giant tabernacle. And I just sat there so amazed. Guys, God is so intricately aware of what is going to happen in our future and in our present that he planned for it years ago, weeks ago, months ago. He planned for everything that we are going to be going through if we will only obey his steps and his requests. His things that seem like, wow, Lord, that's a tall order. I don't know how you expect us to make it through this COVID. I don't know how you expect me to make it through this hard situation at work. I don't know how you expect me to make it through this rough marriage or whatever it is for you. Sometimes we have that attitude towards the Lord and we think, Lord, I don't know how you expect me to make it through this. And then if we just obey, he shows up again and again. And I just think, wow, like that is the character of our God. And I don't want you to miss his character. Guys, God's plan for us is good, pleasing, and perfect. And if we will take steps in obedience, we will get to see the glory of his character. He has a plan for us. He has everything mapped out. He knows exactly what's going to happen. So trust him, trust his plan. If he asks you to do something ridiculous, like go to all your neighbors and collect all these supplies, like go do it, because you're gonna need it later. So anyways, the first thing that God has been talking to me about is just that he's aware, he knows. So step in obedience and just magnify in his character. He's amazing. Anyways, the other thing that God has been talking to me a lot about it's just that everything here is so temporary. With J12, which is our 4th and 5th grade small group, there's about 15. There's about 15 4th and 5th graders, and we meet every Sunday night, and we ask hard questions. We are reading through the book of Luke right now, and there's a lot of hard teachings that Jesus walks us through in the book of Luke and in all his gospels, really. But one of the big things is that this life is so temporary. We plan for our future, or we try to get the best grades, or we do our very best in school, or we try to please our parents, or whatever it is. Like all these, we try really hard to plan for our future or to have a good life today, but really in the end, none of it matters. The only thing that matters is that we have a relationship with Jesus, because as we have seen with COVID, everything can be taken away from us in a day, in an instant. Everything can change from, 24 hours from now. We have no idea when all this is going to be over, or when it's all going to end, or when, we're not going to have access to things that we need, like toilet paper. And so everything is so temporary, and the only thing that matters is our relationship with God. And we have gotten to see through J12, reading through Luke together, we've gotten to see that in every single one of Jesus's teachings, he's not worried about our possessions. He's not worried about what we have or don't have. He's worried about our heart. He wants us so badly just to spend time with him. He wants us so badly just to be obedient and hear his commands and dwell in God's presence. That's what he wants for us, because all this is so temporary. And I want to read to you 2 Corinthians 4, and it starts in verse 17. And it says, "Our present troubles are small and won't last very long, but they produce for us glory that vastly outweighs them and will last for forever." And then he says this is Paul talking. He says, "For we don't look at troubles that we can see now. Rather, we fix our gaze on things that we cannot see. For the things we see now will soon be gone, but the things that we cannot see will last forever." So I just encourage you to keep perspective. All of this is not going to last very long in the grand scheme of things, and it really doesn't matter in the end. So fix your eyes on things that we can't see: your faith, your relationship with God, your relationship with your family, kindness, love, generosity. These things are the things that last forever. So sorry I got emotional, but that's all for today. I miss you all, and I hope to see you all super, super soon. Bye.